Yeah, Ambush, and today we are joined by a member of a band who is creating a whirling maelstrom of sound. They're combining the sounds of prog rock, blues, and a little bit of funk, bringing it all together and making it sound oh so good, packaging it up, delivering it to you in an upcoming debut album. The band is Brass Camel. Our guest is Daniel Sveinson. How's it going today, Daniel?
After that dynamite intro, I'm doing all right.
Hey, we gotta bring the hype. You know what it is.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, I love it. And of course, I love having you back on the show. I think it's been like 4 years since you were on the program, my friend. An entirely different band, like...
Oh, yeah.
So, of course, we said, like we mentioned, the new group, the new move, it's Brass Camel. You've got an upcoming debut album on the way, but what I would like to know, of course, is for an album to come out, it's got to start somewhere. So, take us behind. Where exactly does this debut album begin for you?
Well, we've been focusing so hard on the live show over the last few years. Over the course of the pandemic, I mean, we had... rather than head into the studio and kind of take advantage of gigging downtime in a recording studio, we were busting out the tape saws and we were bringing out the strand of lights and we were making props for the live show and picking up dry ice machines, hoping that eventually we're going to get back to the stage and put on a hell of a show. And eventually we were able to get up. My God, hope you can edit there. It was the pitfalls of doing a handheld Zoom call, eh? Really should find a stand for this device. Whew. Where were we here? So over the course of the pandemic, rather than spending our time in a studio, we were really working hard on putting together a stage show and a stage production, just trying to make something over the top in the indie landscape. Because, you know, you see a lot of great bands in the clubs, but I so rarely see a band in a smaller venue that puts on a really memorable production. I think a lot of that stuff often gets left for, you know, when and if a band kind of makes it to that next level. And we thought it would be fun to just go from there. I mean, at the end of the day, we're playing some sort of unorthodox rock and roll, and we're cool with the fact that not everybody's going to like it. But, you know, if somebody doesn't like the music, at least they can dig the show. I think a lot of people would rather go deaf than blind. So we thought we'd try and make it look good. And then as we got back to the stage, we kind of realized, well, shit, if we want to take this band farther, we're going to need some recorded material soon. So we really kind of winged it, and we got together some tracks. A few of them we had already been playing, and then there were a few that were just written in a very short amount of time. We jumped into the old Afterlife Studios, which used to be Mushroom, at the very beginning of January, and just spent 3 days hammering out bids for the 9 songs, and then went back to our studio and finished up vocals and finished up some guitar parts there, and had the whole album recorded in it was probably 3 weeks to a month of 3 days in the studio, and the rest was just late evenings after. You know, of course, we all have day jobs at this point, so late evenings and early mornings, and just getting in there whenever we could. And we wrapped up all the recording very quickly and got it off to Ben Kaplan, who did, I think, a fantastic job of mixing the album, and off to mastering from there. And you know, the longest part of this whole process has been releasing the album, because from getting into the studio to having the final mastered product, it was under 2 months, which I think was a pretty solid turnaround for a full-length album. And now it's just been a matter of figuring out how we're going to get the damn thing out there, because, you know, I think there was a bit of a thought process of let's make this album in a bit of a DIY method, and then we work on the second album, which is going to be, we're going to spend more time. And, you know, we thought that this debut album would sound pretty good. And once we got the mixes and the masters back from Ben there, kind of went, whoa, maybe we should do a proper release here. Maybe we shouldn't just throw it onto the internet and see what happens. So it's taken a little while to shop the album around a bit and find the right publicist and everything. But we're pretty stoked to get it out in September. It's going to cover a lot of ground. I think there's a common thread music-wise throughout the album that'll tie everything together, but it'll definitely go on a bit of an adventure.
It's yeah, anyone who's heard the 2 singles that have came out already, it is definitely an adventure for sure. I've been loving both of the tracks here, and like you said, you guys weren't really sure how it would turn out, and then comes out amazing, and then you guys have to, oh man, now we have to do the actual like work behind releasing singles. Okay, cool. Like ends up taking way longer than you usually ever think it's going to, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, but I think we have all our artwork lined up and everything now, so it's going to take a while for vinyl to get in here, but I expect that we'll have a vinyl release for the spring, and we're going to be doing the proper album release in September 9th, so it's just around the corner now.
Hey, you guys got a party planned, and I mean, like you mentioned, I mean, vinyl will take a while, but everybody's experiencing that problem right now, so I mean, I'm sure it'll be worth the wait. So of course, like I mentioned, there's a couple of singles that have already made their way out into the world. I want to dive behind both of them here today. So of course, our first track that got everything kicked off June 24th was a single called Easy. So take us a little bit behind Easy, my friend.
Easy was a song that I had a grand piano for a couple of years a while back, and it was a great excuse to make myself a better piano player, because it's like a big elephant in the room that if you're not going to practice, why do you have this thing taking up so much room? And that the progression for Easy was something that just started out as a bit of a warm up, and then a couple of years later, I thought I should just turn that into a song, and the lyrics and everything came together very, very quickly for that one. I suppose it's just about all the different paths somebody could take in life, and if only they were easy. That one came together fairly quick, and then as we were recording it, we had contacted John Helliwell, who was the sax player for Supertramp, and just kind of sent out a few emails to him and Edgar Winter's management. We thought, how cool would it be if we found a classic rock icon that could play on our track? Nobody got back except for John Helliwell from Supertramp in about 10 minutes. Said, oh, I would love to play on you guys' track. That sounds good. Send me £500 and we'll make it happen. Fuck yeah. So we all got ready to pay this guy from Supertramp to play on the song. And we did a couple shows with History of Gunpowder, and their sax player, Mike Allen, who is a Barry sax player for Five Alarm Funk. Man, that guy's just got a crazy ear and just a crazy musicality. And in a last minute change of plans, we went, damn, it's too bad we won't be able to say we don't have the guy from Supertramp on our album. But Mike's a great player, so we brought him into the studio and just hammered out a bunch of takes, and I think he laid down a pretty wild sax solo to kind of to wrap up the track.
I'd say he definitely brought it together for sure. I mean, having a name would have been nice as well, but probably didn't cost quite as much as £500 either. So, I mean, either way, it works out. Came out with an amazing sound either way, right?
Oh yeah, we're stoked, man. No, Mike's the man.
Hey, he is the man, and shout out to him for getting it done. And of course, there's another song that came out a little bit more closer to our current date. August 5th, you guys released King for a Day. This song definitely, like you mentioned earlier, a little bit of a journey. So take us behind the journey of King for a Day.
Well, I ride motorcycles. That's one of my most involved hobbies, I suppose. And I had gone for a rip up the Sea to Sky Highway up to Squamish here in BC, and I was having a chat with a fellow motorcyclist up there who was talking about how if he was king for a day, they do time trials up that highway. And on the whole ride back, I was thinking, that sounds like an interesting concept for a song. And that one, it was the day after I was actually driving up to Penticton, and basically wrote the whole song on the drive up. music and the lyrics and everything, and got home and demoed it basically in the form that it is on the album. It came together. Out of all the songs on the album, I think it has one of the more elaborate arrangements, and it by far came together the quickest. So it was an interesting writing process compared to the other ones. But I guess it's just about the inclinations of tyrants, and people start out with good intentions, and rarely does it in that way.
Mm-hmm. I love how I love how it builds too, and like that arrangement where you say like the middle of the song and beforehand it's like, oh, we'll get rid of taxes and we'll do all of these other things, and then like you go through this rampant solo that like might be like the madness of power maybe, right? And then like afterwards it's like everything's flipped,
and all of a sudden you're subjugating the peasants.
I loved the track. It's like once like this, I think it was the second or the third listen where I finally caught on to it, where I was like, oh, okay, we've got a story. Okay.
It's a narrative.
Yes.
Dynamite. Well, I'm glad you dig.
Dig it for sure. And like I said, I've been digging these tracks so far. I'm excited to hear the debut album itself. Earlier, you mentioned that Brass Camel has an upcoming debut album release show going on inside Vancouver, I believe September 9th, the Wise Hall. I believe you're also filming a music video the same day. Take us a little bit behind this party here.
Yeah, we're going to be filming more of a concert video. We're going to be doing a live video there to get some footage from that show, and I think we've constructed something fairly elaborate. I'm not sure if you've seen the poster, but it's got a 2001 Space Odyssey theme to it, sort of a knockoff, but the space station is the camel logo. And in keeping with the theme of the poster there, we've got astronaut suits, not for us to wear, but for, again, in keeping with the theme of that 2001 Space Odyssey poster. But we've got some associates that will be wearing spacesuits for purposes I cannot tell you about yet. We have timpani and tubular bell, and we've got dry ice fog, and a couple interesting guests, and some interesting lighting cues and things that I think should make for a heck of a show. And yeah, no, I'm very, very excited to stage it here, because we've got some rather ambitious things planned out, and given that we're doing it as a one-off, it's either going to fall flat on its face or it's going to be phenomenally entertaining. I don't think there's going to be much in between. And for the easy cost of $21.12 for it, you can come and see the show yourself and see how it all works out.
Yeah, definitely. If you are in the area, go ahead, get yourself a ticket. September 9th, the Wise Hall. Get yourself inside of a music video at the same time. Sounds like it's going to be absolutely outrageous.
Oh, that's the plan. Preposterousness in perpetuity.
Nice. I love to hear it. I'm gonna try and find my way down there myself if I can. Absolutely. So, of course, we've mentioned this upcoming show, upcoming album, maybe some vinyl in the future. What else does the future here, 2022, maybe the start of 2023, hold for Brass Camel?
In 2023, I think we'd like to hit the road. We want to get out on tour, and the plan next year, depending on how things go. I mean, I think we're saved a fair bit to kind of start on some campaigns for promo and for music video, and we'd like to try and hit Eastern Canada. We'd like to try and hit Europe, and we'd like to try and do West Coast of the States next year. So let's see if that all pans out. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but it's. I think it's finally at the point now where we've got something that's worth getting out there, and now it's just the business part of the old music business. Got to see if we can navigate that side of things.
Yes, the second half that somehow ends up taking up more than, like we mentioned earlier, than we ever think it will.
Nature of the beast.
Nature of the beast. But you'll do it because you love it.
Seems like that's the way it goes. And somehow I'm not jaded. So we'll just keep on plugging away and see how it works out.
Hey, well, of course, one thing I would love to know is through this journey of continuing to plug away, to continuing to hammer those strings on and across the stage, What is something that you are grateful for in life, my friend?
I've got functioning limbs. I've got generally good health. Got a great group of folks that surrounds me, and I'm grateful for a beautiful, beautiful day today that I'm spending on a pirate ship.
Huh.
So there's a few things to be grateful.
Absolutely. I would say so. I would say so for sure. One last question here, another one about sort of growth, my friend, is through the process of crafting this new Brass Camel album, how has that process helped you to grow as a person, or what has it taught you about yourself?
It's a very deep question because was a it was a challenging couple months, really. Yeah, I'd say both a couple of the most creatively fulfilling months and a couple of the most challenging months I've ever had, because I lost my only sibling to suicide at the end of January, and which is probably the hardest thing I've ever gone through, and hopefully will ever have to go through. Right in the middle of the most kind of head down, focused, creative period I've ever had, and well, it just taught me a lot about a lot. Having to deal with just a ton of different emotions, and yeah, it taught me about resiliency and being there for others, and about allowing others to be there for you. And I had to do a lot of thinking about, and I mean, definitely open a can of worms, because that recording process was definitely an interesting period for sure. No, man, I learned a lot about myself, a lot about the people around me, a lot about how your own sort of state of mental health can affect your creative process for the better and sometimes for the worse from day to day if you're going through a tumultuous period. So I was months going to create in the years to come. Listening back to this album, I think will always kind of take me back to where I was during those months.
Wow. I would think so for sure. And that's incredibly powerful, my friend. It's strong on you for powering through those emotions to continue to create this art. And like you say, it's a piece of you that will continue on forever, and a piece of like the people who continue to influence you. And I thank you for sharing this lesson, this growth, as well as the story behind this upcoming debut album from Brass Camel, my friend.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I think it's been something in the arts for centuries that the arts are a place that can really provide an outlet for people to funnel all sorts of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting process. And human psychology is very layered, and sometimes somebody going through a struggle can mean crying on a couch, and sometimes it can mean making a progressive rock record. Sometimes it can mean a little bit of both. So,
Hey,
and a bit of words with that question, but that's the truth of how that album will have changed me or affected things in the year to come.
hey, well, I thank you. I thank you for sharing.
Greatly hope that the next recording project is driven by entirely different emotions and all that. And I think we are going to be back into the studio in January, actually, to record the follow up. It's probably not going to get released until end of 2023, but we've got some pretty interesting stuff planned out for the next one here. So no rest.
Hey, I'm very excited to hear it. And as you say, man, music is therapy and music is magic, my friend. And it can help us experience and travel through so many various emotions. And us traveling through those emotions can help other people travel through those emotions. So it's to go through this and to share this. You never know who it might go on to help, my friend. So I thank you so very much for having the strength to do that.
Yeah, no worries at all.
Hey, and I thank you once again for joining us here today, my friend. I hope to catch Brass Camel at that EP release show September 9th. Until then, my friend, hopefully you take care.
Oh, I will, mate. It's going to be a beautiful day, and we'll make some more music later on. Thanks a lot for having us on here, and hope you enjoy spinning those new tracks.
Ah, yeah, Ambush. I hope that you enjoyed today's conversation here with Daniel of Brass Camel. I hope that you enjoyed it enough that you're going ahead and checking out those singles you heard about here today. Easy and King for a Day, both of which, of course, come to us off of Brass Camel's debut album, Brass, which of course can be found right now, yes, right now in its entirety on your favorite music streaming service. Oh yeah, go listen to it, enjoy it, let the band know what you think about it by connecting with them on social media, your favorite social media platform. The band is probably there and they would love to hear from you. So go ahead and give them a follow, give them a shout out, give them a share. Come on. And of course, we need to thank Daniel one last time for joining us here on today's episode of the show. We have to thank the amazing Eric Alper for helping us setting up today's convo. We need to thank the audio wizard. You know who he is. He's German from ypeditor.com. Of course, we need to thank you, the mighty Ambush, for tuning on in today. If you've yet to subscribe to the show, what are you waiting for? You can also share today's episode and give us a 5-star review, and those are 3 amazing free ways that you can support the DTP. If you want to take it one step further, you can also check out our web store, which is www.deserttiger.shop. And that's where you go to copy yourself something and to represent the show everywhere that your lovely face goes. Yes. You can see me, the Colton G, on social media because that's my tag. And you actually will not be seeing me reffing any shows this weekend as far as I know because I don't have any. I'm also not scheduled to be out of town or anywhere else. I'm going to be relaxing and enjoying my time, as far as I know. As far as the recording of this interview, that could always change. Card always subject to change. But until then, I have full plans to relax, and oh my goodness, I hope that you are enjoying your time as well. And now, we leave you with this. Go out, find your roar, and then let that roar out into the world, because you, my friend, you are a mighty tiger. You are glorious. You are wondrous. You are powerful. You are beautiful. You are all of these things and oh so much more. Never forget this. And until next time, bye-bye.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.